The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Epic Love Show. This is episode 90. I am your host, Travis Suit, and my fellow compadre here in the studio with me, our audio engineer, Jason Fish.
That's what happens when you take the I out of fish. It becomes fish.
Love it. Stick around. He'll have a couple dad jokes coming up here shortly. This is episode 90, and we are covering part 2. If you're following along, thank you for listening each week. This is part 2 of the Piper's Angels story. This is Cystic Fibrosis Awareness Month, and this show is brought to you by a cystic fibrosis organization, the Piper's Angels Foundation. And the Piper's Angels Foundation, the mission is to support and improve families and people in the cystic fibrosis community. You can check out more at pipersangels.org. I got the big thumbs up. The sound is loud and clear, folks. Compared to last week, we had some fun technical production entertainment last week. A lot of people said it was the most entertaining show ever.
It definitely was. So you have to top it today. But I want to say, when he split screens you,
yes,
look down so you can make sure you center yourself in the picture.
Oh, you want me to be centered? I was trying to be off-centered because of the logo.
No, now you're good.
Oh, you mean when we go split screen?
Split them again.
Okay, let's check this out. Boom. Okay, I see. Well, that's going to be, maybe I'll just scoot over right about there. How about that? Okay, there we go.
All right.
In place.
There you go.
Wonderful. Well, and as always, thank you to Jeremy Howard of Inlet Properties for allowing us to use this beautiful space we call home for the Epic Love Show. And you can listen to the Epic Love Show on playback on iHeartRadio, Spotify, or Pandora. And from here on out, you'll be able to check it out on our YouTube channel. So if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, for every subscription we get in the next 3 hours, we got to do something special.
Okay.
What are we going to do?
You tell me.
I was asking for your input.
Don't put me in the spot.
Damn
like
it.
that.
Come on. Help a brother out.
How about we post a dad joke on the Facebook page?
Okay. I like that.
So.
I like that. The shout outs of the week here that I want to do are for a few very special folks. Josh Ferris and Telena Fortunato, who just had their first baby boy named Bodhi. And Bodhi's a great name. I love that name. I'm so glad that they picked that name. And the English term and definition of Bodhi is enlightenment, is the Western translation of the abstract noun Bodhi in Sanskrit, the knowledge or wisdom or awakened intellect. Bodhi.
All right.
Yeah. So want to send my love to Telena and Josh. Glad it was a smooth, successful experience. And we welcome Bodhi with all of his wisdom and enlightenment and love into the world with and in Epic Love fashion. Any future shout outs you want to do for the Epic Love Show? For $25, I will shout out any birthday or anything you want, and 100% of the $25 will go to the Piper's Angels Foundation.
All right.
Shout outs, $25. Anybody got them? Reach out. Text, comment, anything you got. Email Travis@pipersangels.org.
Comment on our pages.
Comment on any of the above. Second shout out is going to Evelyn O'Doherty of Stand Up Journal. And Evelyn is a fantastic friend of the Crossing and Piper's Angels Foundation. We get to see her every year at Surf Expo, which I hope happens this year. And she is the amazing entrepreneur. And we're going to have her on the show in June. So that'll be coming up. And she has been doing a wonderful job of promoting Cystic Fibrosis Awareness Month with Stand Up Journal. If you're not familiar with Stand Up Journal, it is the most beautiful publication on stand-up paddle that's in the industry, that's out there. We're so excited, so happy to be a partner of Stand Up Journal. And we love you so much. Danny says, shout out, looks and sounds awesome. Thank you so much, Danny Diaz. We love you. We love your support. Good times. Okay.
Good times.
So thank you, Evelyn, for everything that you do and in support of the Crossing and Piper's Angels. You are one of Piper's Angels. Also, shout out for some gratitude for the ocean this week. Oh, Evelyn, hi. Yes. Hello. I love you. Thank you. We love you so much. Lots of epic love for you and Stand Up Journal. If you haven't liked Stand Up Journal, go to the Facebook page, go to the Instagram. Evelyn curates not only the most beautiful content, but the most powerfully rich storytelling and inspiring content that comes from our connection with the ocean and the water. So thank you, Evelyn, for everything you do. Really, really love it. And yes, so the gratitude shout out for this week, because we've been doing a gratitude campaign in the month of May for Cystic Fibrosis Awareness, and a shout out to all of our CF warriors and families out there. We love you. Send in all of our love. And so we've been doing this gratitude campaign. And so the gratitude comment of this show will be to the ocean for all of your beauty, your glory, your love, for all of everything that you do as the blood of this earth and of really our blood too, because we're made of ocean. Quick sip. Water. Let's keep it clean, folks. Keep it clean. All right. DJ Jazzy J Fishman.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a dad joke for us?
I do have a dad joke. You want one now and one later? Or?
You know what I want to do? In the future, we need a soundbite for when you ramp up to the dad joke.
So you need to create a song then.
You could do like Dean. You were talking about superheroes earlier. He could wear a cape and be like,
super joke.
That was pretty good. That was quick. Super joke.
Uh-oh.
Super dad joke.
Yeah. Super joke.
There it is. Yeah, that's the soundbite, right? And then you could bring it in and deliver it.
Right.
That way we have
we have to get an epic love cape.
I like that. Oh, I like that a lot.
All right.
Or a shield. Would you rather have a shield or a cape?
I don't know.
Sword or dagger?
Oh, sword.
You could have gone bow and arrow.
Well, bow and arrow can too, but bow and arrow, you actually have to take more concentration. Sword, you can just get lucky if you get a swing.
That's true, but Cupid has a successful track record with the bow and arrow with love.
Yeah. All right. So what do you get when you cross a sheepdog with a rose?
Sheepdog and a rose. One of these days, I'm going to get it.
I know.
I came close recently.
You
I
did.
kind of landed somewhere nearby. What do you get when you cross a sheepdog and a rose?
Yeah.
A sheepdog, I know what those are.
Good.
And a rose, which is beautiful and smells good. Sheepdog and a rose. One's thorny, one's hairy.
That's what I was just thinking.
You can trim one and trim the other, I suppose.
A horn dog.
No.
Oh, that was a good guess. What?
A cauliflower.
Oh man, that actually was pretty obvious, and I didn't even go there.
All right.
I need to think more intellectually about this in the future.
How would it be a sheepdog? Wouldn't it be a collie then?
No, a sheepdog is a type of collie.
Oh.
I think we should start a new voting poll each week and get everybody who listens to the show to rate your dad jokes and put a little pressure on you to really deliver. So we can see at the end of the year, we'll get a ranking.
Okay.
And then you can release the ranking as the annual dad joke ranking of the Epic Love Show.
All right.
And it'll be voted on.
Yeah. So
All right.
we'll just have to post. We'll have to post the jokes on, at the end of the show.
Post it at the end of the show. We'll see how many comments or feedback we get, and we'll take the votes and we'll tally them. I like that.
All right. Do you want the second one? You want the second one now?
Oh,
or
you got
later?
a second one.
There is a second one.
Okay.
And we do have a bunch of special effects, so we can find like some cool special effects for
like that.
like in thing. So he's got another one though. So do 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 do.
We really need to find something else. What's not him?
You don't like those?
No.
I think he's switching it up. I like it. It's custom.
Right.
It's live.
Where does the Lone Ranger take his trash?
Where does the Lone Ranger take his trash? All right, the Lone Ranger, I think I know what he was about. He was a horseman.
Yeah.
Rode out on the range.
Yeah.
I think he was cool.
He was cool.
He was pretty tough.
Yeah, with Tonto.
With Tonto, okay.
Yeah.
What did Tonto call
What was it? Yeah, hint.
No, I can't. There's no hint.
All right.
I've never given you a hint in the entire time we've done this.
What is it?
To the dump, to the dump, to the dump, 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 to the dump, to the dump, to the dump, dump, dump.
To the dump.
I've heard that one before.
And you still didn't know it though.
Very nice.
All right, so there are my jokes
Got it.
for the week. We'll post them at the end.
Evelyn liked that
Evelyn,
one.
Evelyn got it.
We're live. Sean Timms.
Evelyn got it.
Hey, another thing you guys can do if you want, you can host a watch party for the show. So if you're on Facebook right now, you can share the show to your page. Just share it over. 2 clicks and we're there. And we will have we'll be hosting a watch party. Hey, every week, 7 p.m., we're partying.
Party.
Watch party.
Yep.
Bring it on in, people. Invite your friends. You know, now that quarantine is kind of, Paul. Which one? Which one was the bad dad joke, Paul?
I think they're all good, Paul. So
Bad dad joke.
Well, then, Paul, I challenge you next week to come up
Ooh.
with a better one.
We got an on-air challenge.
On-air challenge
From
if he accepts
DJ
it.
Jokester.
If he accepts it. I thought it was super joke.
I like super joke.
All right.
DJ super joke.
There you go.
I like that.
There you go.
That could be fun.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty playful.
All right.
It could be well branded.
I can
too.
make that. I can make that on my new tag now.
We should Google it and see if it's.
If you remember Superfly, you could make them like Superfly, but he's super joke.
I like because then what's great about that is because your name's Jason, you could have a J on your like shield, and it would go for both. It would be a good.
There you go.
Perfect. I like it. I like it a lot. Piper's Angels Foundation says it's on. Somebody from the staff who's an administrator just wrote that. So this is fun. Thank you all for commenting and tuning in each week. Our goal, if you don't know this, the goal of the Epic Love Show is to share inspiring stories of love through action and promote the positive. And the reason we want to do that is because as an organization who was born out of the cystic fibrosis community, people with cystic fibrosis face at sometimes extreme adversity. So what our goal is we invite people into our world who have inspiring stories to tell. And often that it comes out of their hero's journey of what they went through to achieve and break through the barriers in their life, to be bold in the face of fear and to prove themselves, in their own courage in the face of adversity. So by sharing those stories, what we're hoping to do is inspire our cystic fibrosis warriors, the people who are facing this disease. They could be laying in a hospital bed right now listening to this. And by doing that, we want to lift them up. And that's our mission as the foundation. Now, the great thing about this show that I love is that inspiring stories aren't just for and from the CF community. Inspiring stories are abundantly available to the world. And what's really cool that I would hope that this show would activate, the call to action, is if you're listening to this right now, a lot of the people who are listening to this are probably aligned in their vibration of love. They're probably, they're ascending into this lighter love, atmosphere that is being cultivated and awakened in the world, like the new baby Bodhis of the world. So in that, what are you doing to take a step of love through action? And that doesn't have to be epic in the contemporary Urban Dictionary sense of it. The word epic is actually the hero's journey. These ancient stories that were epics are about the hero's journey. So this is your hero's journey. And we want to share those stories. And we want you, the listener, to learn from and be inspired by our cystic fibrosis community and warriors as well. And we want you to be inspired to share the show and share the inspiring stories of others, because even the sharing of the show is in itself a step of love through action. So if you just share the show, you are sharing love. And that's the goal, to share love through these beautiful vibrational waves of W4CY radio, TV.com, W4CY media by the great Dean Piper, who's in alignment with Piper's Angels Foundation, just if it was only in name. You guys can share it. And that's what this is about, is sharing. So I hope you take that away from this, because I love this show and I love all the listeners. I love everybody who's a part of it, because we're like a heartbeat. And each week we come together, and it's like when we go out into the world, we're expanding. And when we come back to the show, we're on the contraction, and we're all going to come together collectively and contract into this self-awareness of love with each other. And then we're going to expand that out into the world. And you could do it with me in this exercise that I really love. It's a meditation on breath, which is we breathe in love. Deep breath with me. Take a deep breath, everybody. Ready? And we're going to take a deep breath in. Breathe in love and exhale gratitude. Oh, grateful, grateful, grateful. Right? And what this does is, in your toroidal field, right, in the energy flow, the electromagnetic field of your north and south, like the earth, in that toroidal field, what you do is, by setting an intention on breathing in love, you actually are breathing in air molecules which have hydrogen, H2O, right? Hydrogen, 2 parts oxygen. And when that comes into your body, into your lungs, guess what the most rapid deployment system in your body is in terms of absorption? Why do people smoke? It brings it into the lungs, right? When you have that rapid expansion, why do people breathe? Why do people with CF breathe salt water into their lungs, right? Because salt water is super good for their lungs. It hits the liner of the lungs, helps to hydrate the liner of the lungs, breaks down the sticky mucus. They can help get it out. That's why the Piper's Angels Foundation has a salt water supply program and our Forever Stoked scholarships. Back to the point. When you breathe in love, so do it with me again, but this time when you think about love, when you breathe it in, I want you to breathe in the love from something, so it becomes a shared co-creative experience. So on this next breath, I'm going to breathe in love from Jason, our in-studio sound engineer here. I'm going to breathe in love from him. And then I'm going to exhale gratitude back to him. And this is a full cycle, right? And so we're going to do it together. We're going to count down 3, 2, 1, take a deep breath in, but I want you to place your mind on what you love, or not what you love, but where you draw love in from. Draw it in, and then push the gratitude out back to them, right? And so, all right, 3, 2, 1, deep breath in. And out, gratitude. And then I was really present with how much I actually do love Jason, and how grateful I am that he shows up every week and he brings his best. He's a great dad. He's a great husband. And I really, in that moment, could honor that, because I actually was co-creating with the experience of the air and the energy that we breathe in and that we breathe out.
Even though people don't like my dad jokes.
Even though actually it was the president of the board of Piper's Angels Foundation who made that comment. So,
that's even worse.
Coming down from the top.
It's that's as worse as it can get.
Paul, you destroyed Jason's dreams.
My flow is now just completely cut off.
We got to get that back connected.
Yeah.
What do you need? How can we do this?
I don't know. We got
to call in a lifeline.
Well, Paul's got to come in an hour. Got to do the breathe in, breathe out.
Paul, we need a positive comment. We need a positive comment. So I'm wondering, so we've got the comments coming in the box.
Yep.
But are they delayed?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
You think that's all the comments on the show?
It's been quite a bit. So,
Okay.
We're doing pretty well. So.
All right. So if you share the love, share a comment, drop it in the box. If you have a question, let me know. I got a photo from Robin on Facebook. She sent, my friend is a first responder. Shout out to all the first responders and healthcare workers out there, keeping us safe in this time and getting us through with their epic love and their actions of love. Thank you, Nikki, Leanne, Sean, Evelyn, Gary, Matt. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We love you. The show is growing. Keep sharing the love. This week is episode 90. Man, we're counting down to the 100th episode. I don't know what we're going to do when we get to 100. We will take suggestions. In fact, that's what we're going to do. It's not going to be my idea. It's going to be the audience's idea on how we celebrate the 100th episode.
Okay.
And what the content of the 100th episode is. So everybody listening right now, we would like you to comment what you want the 100th episode celebration to be like, and also what you would like to hear on the 100th episode. Paul came back.
I already posted it.
Great breathing exercise. Thanks, Danny. And thanks, Paul. Thanks for bringing your love back. We appreciate that.
I feel better.
We appreciate that, Paul. Yes. Okay. So 100th episode, any comments, feedback, we really appreciate that. And this episode of episode 90 is about the Piper's Angel story, part 2. And so I'm going to dive into that right now. So if you remember from last week, we covered Piper's Angel story part 1. And it was really, it covered a lot. It covered from before Piper's diagnosis to her first hospital visit, to learning about the saltwater healing benefits, to meeting Gary Ellis in Islamorada, my first introduction to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, all the way up through 2017. And we were talking a little bit about, what Piper experienced for, a good portion of the year where she spent a lot of time in the hospital. And we learned so much as a family about how difficult it can be as a cystic fibrosis family. And I really can't state enough how hard it is for some families and for some people. And really, when you're going through a hard time, we all have been through hard times in our life. What's the most important thing that matters when you're going through a hard time? When people show up for you, when they're there. And that's what's so important about this aspect of the Piper's Angel story. We're getting a lot of good feedback here. A lot of good feedback on the dad jokes. I like it. I want to be wine episode 2.0. All right. The celebration will include red wine. Yes! That's a good one, Sean. All right, I'm back to the storyline, folks. We want all the feedback and comments, but I'm going to keep moving on the Piper's Angel story. So I just told you what we covered last week in Piper's Angel story part 1. And what we're going to cover this week is part 2, which is from 2017 till now. And this is a really beautiful story. And I'm going to share with you some really amazing moments from that story, some of the milestones that we achieved along the way. And I'm going to give you everything I got. So if you're listening, thank you. And understand that how important this story is, because it's changing lives, and because you're a part of it. And because you're a part of it, you're helping change lives. And that's the value of the show, the organization, and our mission. So my daughter Piper was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis at 4 years old. The last episode, we covered a lot of the front end of that. My sister Leanne was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis at 40, the same year Piper was diagnosed at 4, which is an incredibly interesting part of the story. And so when we were coming out of 2016, we had done the crossing in 2013, and we raised some money. We created some awareness. The media coined the name Piper's Angels for the group of paddlers, the 2 boats. We had 4 paddlers and 2 boats in the crossing for a cure in 2013. Piper was hospitalized in 2016 for long periods of time, and it was really a wake-up call for me personally, because this was a pivot point in my story, my journey, where I had to decide. I had for-profit job opportunities that were like really well-paid job opportunities and really great opportunities entrepreneurially. And for me, it was like, I don't feel compelled to keep putting my energy into things that aren't necessarily meaningful for me. And this was a major challenge. And so I was dealing with that on a personal level. Piper was, going through a lot, and it opened our eyes to the fact that the bottom line is, if you're walking by somebody on a sidewalk and they need help because they're hurt, the way I was raised, my values say you go over there and you do what you can to help them. You don't leave somebody there. If you're, I went to officer candidate school for the Marine Corps, and I wasn't in the Marines. I decided not to go in. But in the military, they have this mindset of not leaving anybody behind. Well, if there's somebody out there on the battlefield and they've gone through a battle, or they're going through a battle, and they're hurt, they're injured, they're in pain, they're suffering, like many of these CF warriors are, who are laying in the hospital bed right now, and their parents, their families, their loved ones are by their side. When you're going through that, you need people to step up. And from my perspective, there weren't enough people stepping up. And it was frustrating, and it made me mad that there's these families that are suffering and they're not getting the help they need. And, we went through it. I saw it. Luckily, we have an incredible family. My parents, my brother-in-law, Piper's mom, everybody's so supportive. And I had somebody tell me once along the journey, it was a woman, and she said, a disease like this can either rip a family apart or bring them together. And fortunately enough for our family, it's brought us together. And it's not just brought together our family. Look at what it's done. It's brought together a global community. It's brought together a paddle community. It's brought together this epic love community. It's brought us together because of how we are facing the adversity, right? So in 2016, it was a decision to, are we going to try to create something that could make change? We didn't know what that looked like. So yes, we created the Piper's Angels Foundation. We filed for incorporation in the state of Florida. And we had a kickoff party, which was super cool. We raised a little bit of money, kind of got it, just the idea of it going. And we were waiting on our tax exemption status to come back from the IRS, because you can't really fundraise and it can't be tax exempt unless you have that 501c3 status. So the entrepreneurial journey begins, right? Now, this wasn't my first startup. I had been a part of many startups. People ask me all the time, Travis, were you in marketing? What were you doing before this? Yes, I was in marketing. I was in sales. I was in promotions. I was in entrepreneurial startups. I have seen a lot of businesses fail at my own fingertips and at the fingertips of others. And I do fully believe that if you're listening to this, and one of the biggest lessons you can take away from this is failure is the first step to success. You must fail and fail and fail again, as many of the great, sages have said. But so in 2017, we were approached by some people about a local CF family who needed help. And this was really important because this was the Smith family. And the Smith family, they recently lost their daughter, Michaela, and we just want to send our love and prayers out to Michaela's family at this time. Lisa and Chris, nobody can put themselves in the position of a parent who loses a child. But all we can really do, what we can do is we can share our love, and we have that love and we carry it with us, and we carry the spirit of Michaela. We carry that with us. That's part of what we do. Right? We are not leaving them behind. They may have left their physical body, but we're carrying them with us in the voice of this show, in the voice of the Foundation for Advocacy. That's what we're doing. Those are Piper's angels. She is now truly a Piper's angel. And, we want to honor them in the best way possible. Because really, when you think about it, my daughter Piper, she's on these new drugs that are really helping her live stronger. But think about it. She wouldn't have those pharmaceutical drugs if it wasn't for every person with CF, who a lot of which are now passed, who did those drug trials. They had to sign themselves up willingly to take a drug that they weren't sure it was going to work, put their body through that, put their liver through that to see if it was going to help. And those are the people who paved the way. The success story of cystic fibrosis was built not on the back of organizations. People get that story wrong. It was built on the back of the patients, the people with CF. It was built on the back of the parents who created the organizations to start with. That's what this was built on. And that success that advancement, that progress in the face of adversity was because of people with cystic fibrosis. And that is what we want to honor. That's the spirit of Piper's Angels and what we want to carry forward. And that's what we celebrate in our paddle out ceremony every year in the Bahamas. So we met the Smith family, and Michaela needed some help. She was in the hospital. She was having a lung issue. She needed a bed that she could be propped up with properly because she was having pleuritic pain, chest pain from her inflammation in her chest. And so we went forward with that, and we actually partnered with Lori Griffith of Chasing a Dream Foundation, which I want to give a shout out to, who was the original journalist on The Crossing in 2013. And Lori is her own way through the Chasing a Dream Foundation is bringing her own love through action to our community here. And she's all about locals helping locals. It's a great story message. I would go check her out online or on Facebook and follow her story and support. Right? This is about sharing. Sharing is caring. So we teamed up and we got Michaela this bed. And this was before we had our tax exemption status. So we were actually fundraising without a tax exemption status. And I was having to tell people, honestly, like, look, you can give us money, but I can't give you a receipt for it. So that was the beginning. That was the first family we helped in January of 2017. Well, on January 26, 2017, we got our tax exemption status. It was a great day to celebrate, a great day I'll always remember as a social entrepreneur, a moment I will always cherish. I knew that was the beginning. And that year, I was with, who we gave a shout out to earlier, Josh Ferris over in Marco Island. And I was sitting on his couch and we were talking. And I said, Josh, do you think if we did this crossing again, that other people would do it with us? Because he said, I'll do it with you. So that was 2 people. You know, the first time we did it, we had 4 people. And I knew from that experience, well, there was other people that would join. But, you know, when you have more people, you have to have more support boats. And it's kind of a big ordeal logistically to expand. And he said, you know, I think people would do it. He said, well, what if we got 10 people? I said, well, you know, 10 people, let's say we all raise $1,500. That would be 15 grand we would raise, right? And think about what we could do with that. That'd be amazing. So let's do that. Let's go for 10 people, you know, 15 or 1,000. I think it was 1,000 a piece, $10,000. And we started it, created like a crowdfunding campaign online, which was different than the first time because before in 2013, there were no crowdfunding. They weren't around yet, the platforms, right? People didn't trust giving your money online. Imagine that. So we started this campaign to rebrand or really relaunch The Crossing for a Cure. We later rebranded as The Crossing for Cystic Fibrosis. And Josh said, I'll do it with you. And then we got a third person. And then before you know it, there were 10 people. And we were like, holy cow, there are a lot of crazy people who want to attempt to paddle across the Gulf Stream. And it's not an easy feat. It's one of the hardest endurance challenges in the world. Little shout out from Nikki. Congratulations to Josh and Felena on becoming a dad. Josh, by the way, ended up becoming one of the top fundraisers in crossing history. And he's paddled beach to beach twice. And been an amazing, amazing guy. Police Officer of the Year in Marco Island. Has raised over probably $70,000 for the Piper's Angels Foundation. Incredible. And so we had 10 people, and then all of a sudden we had 15 people. And I was like, dude, how many people are we going to have? Because for every 4 paddlers, we really need a boat. And so we ended up having, in 2017, we ended up having 34 paddlers, 10 support boats, and they fundraised $133,000. And it was pretty mind-blowing. I mean, in that first experience, I could spend an entire episode on each crossings experience. It was beautiful. We had not the best weather. We had a strong south wind, but you know, we had all these people in Bimini. We had our first 2 female paddlers. We had just this awesome group of captains. We were documenting the trip. You know, we were figuring things out, and lo and behold, we had several paddlers that year make it beach to beach. So it became a second time. It was like proven. The concept was proven. This could happen again, and we could do it, and it was scalable. And that, to me, as a young entrepreneur who'd worked in other startups, that was a big question. Was like, wow, well, if this is scalable, how big can it grow? Because the event and its fundraising capacity could become the heartbeat of the foundation, right? And it could help build the foundation. And that's exactly what happened. That year, right, we raised $133,000. And that summer going into fall, I had to make a real, like, put your britches on, grown-up decision, which was to go full-time with Piper's Angels Foundation. And so I talked it over with our board at the time, who were basically my family and friends, right? Because when you start a nonprofit out of scratch, like, you look around and go, please? Yeah? You want to help? Okay. You know, you have no idea really what you're getting yourself into. And so I began. And so I was the first employee of the Piper's Angels Foundation that fall. So I started taking a minimum salary, and that was how I was covering my expenses. And basically said, here's the sprint. Here's the real tell. If I work full-time, 24/7, nonstop from now until next January, could we take the event again and take it to the next level? Well, roll into 2018. We just started to. Now you have to understand, this was all volunteers and it was me. And we're producing a major event. And so now we've raised money. I am advocating, but we're still in the position of needing to execute on delivering the funds in programming, right? So we started creating our programs. My passion was to get people with cystic fibrosis and saltwater activities, because cystic fibrosis is tremendously, the condition in the lungs is helped by salt water. And we touched in that story in part 1 of the Piper's Angels story. And that was my passion. And so I wanted to create this lifelong sustainable path for people with cystic fibrosis to participate in saltwater activities. We did that, the Salt Supply Program. We created it. We started, buying boards for people, getting into the water, getting coaching going on. In fact, I have a great picture. It's my favorite picture from the Salt Supply Program. It's of Miles Stokey. It's on his first wave in Costa Rica. We sent the Stokey family down there for a surf camp. And Miles, 5 years old. This one I'd take with me to the grave. This one I'm taking to the other side. Not the photo, but the memory, but this beauty of love, of Stoke. And so, we had a mission, we had an event, we had fundraising, but we were building. And, so when you got a major production like The Crossing, you're focused on that because you have sponsors, you have paddlers, you have captains, you have logistics, safety, operations, all that stuff. It cannibalizes all your time. So here we go into 2018. In 2018, we set a goal. We actually put together like a little mini committee and started forming a committee because we didn't have that the first year or the second year in 2017. And lo and behold, in 2018, this miraculous group of people came together. We ended up having 100 paddlers, and I think we had 30 boats, support boats, right? And we ended up raising $282,500, or right around there. And we collected tens of thousands of dollars in sponsorship and in cash to help produce the cost of the event. And we just had this tremendous outpouring of support, the paddle community, the boating community. And it was like, whoa, it was like that heartbeat expansion and contraction. And it was amazing to see how much came together. We launched the Epic Love Show. We got some foundational grants for capacity growth from the Virginia Wellington Cabot Foundation, the Edward T. Bedford Foundation. And so we were growing. We were starting to grow. And our aim has always been, and I said this from the very beginning, and I mean it. Our aim with the Piper's Angels Foundation is to get to the point, and this is what most successful foundations, when you look at the bigger ones, what they strive for. Our goal is to get 100% of the operational costs of the foundation covered through donors, private donors, grants. And so that way 100% of the public donations can go specifically to the programs. We're not there yet. We're growing. We're coming out of our third year. So we literally, when we say the event has built the organization, every ounce of impact we've ever made came from the effort of a massive community of people coming in and supporting the organization, supporting the growth of the organization, supporting the programs. and helping to build this into what it is today, which is one of the most impactful grassroots organizations in the cystic fibrosis community. So 2018 was a massive year, and we started to really crank it up and pick up some big ones, right? So along the way, some of the milestones we achieved, we had our first appearance at Surf Expo in Orlando. That was in January. In June, the crossing raised over $280,000. That same year, we achieved a gold seal status of transparency on GuideStar. That August, because everything was growing so much and it was really way beyond my capacity as an individual, we hired our assistant director, Ayana Sugarman, became the second employee of the foundation. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're out there, this is a little bit of an entrepreneurial story, right? Of building a social impact and high impact organization, nonprofit. And I don't know about you, but this was my first time building a nonprofit. So, what I have learned is that you got to fail, you got to make mistakes. And we made plenty of those along the way. But we've continued to grow and we've continued to succeed, which is, it's all about succeeding in the mission. And that's how we do this. And the voices of all of our community are how we achieve that. This has nothing to do with organizational methodology. It has nothing to do with, it has everything to do with the passion people put in. And one thing I've learned, this is another lesson that I've taken away, the depth of your passion, the deeper you can take your passion, right? The deeper you go with your passion the depth of your purpose. The depth of your purpose intensifies the height of your passion. It's invariable. So if you have like zero purpose in life, you probably are sitting at zero passion. The deeper you take your purpose, no matter what that is, it could be the purpose of playing video games. But if you are passionate, right, that's your purpose, your passion goes up. And so now here we are rolling along into the fall of 2018. We then launched a new program that was built on the idea of Sarah Sapp, who created this program at Shands in Gainesville called Dining Days, where we provide hot meals to families in the hospital with a partnership through BJ's Restaurant. So now we have 3 working functional programs: urgent financial assistance, which is helping families. That's us writing checks to families, grants, gifts, right? To keep them going through hard times, keep the car running, keep the gas in the car on your way to the hospital back and forth, keep the lights on, the fight for your life type of expenses, which is not everybody in the CF community. I've had social workers estimate that about 10% of their patient population really is in need of urgent financial support. 10% of 30,000 people in the US is 3,000 people. We can wrap our arms around 3,000 people. I believe it's possible. So let's help them out. Let's give them a hand. So urgent financial assistance, our awesome salt supply program then developed into what we call our Forever Stokes scholarships. And then we launched Dining Days, and we were sending hot meals to the families in the hospital on a local level at St. Mary's Medical Center in West Palm Beach. So that was the development of our programs through the end of 2018. Now watch as 2019 comes along, right? What kind of happens here as it expands? 2019, we make our second appearance at Surf Expo in Orlando. The Crossing adopts an environmental stewardship policy. So here we're focused on innovation because we're an ocean-based event. Piper's Angels Foundation wins first place at the SUP Film Fest in Santa Cruz, California for our Epic Love short film documentary from 2018, which you can watch on YouTube. So that's helping tell the story of what we're doing, right? And as a part of being a foundation of awareness, how do you tell the story? You do it through different mediums. You do it through social media. You do it through Constant Contact. You do it through the Epic Love Show. You do it through short film documentaries. So that was part of our strategy there, and that worked. Thanks to Talia Shizano, who's the director of that. In 2019, with all the amazing incredibleness of this, Jimmy Buffett joins our advisory board. So that was a huge opportunity to collaborate and for Jimmy to step up in a major way for a small nonprofit organization. But he believes in what we do. And I had a little bit of a personal relationship with Jimmy when I was bartending in Palm Beach. We met and talked, and And he said, you know what, Travis, I'll do anything I can to help you out, in relation to Piper. And so that was a major win. And thank you to Margaritaville and Jimmy for stepping up. And Jimmy brought some valuable assets to the table. In June, we added 4 new board members. So now the board is growing. That June, we crossed the finish line with over $670,000 in fundraising for the Piper's Angels Foundation. So major next step. In that year, we had 209 paddlers leave the beach, and we had 80 boats. Talk about an armada. Shout out to Sean Dunleavy, our admiral of the fleet. Now we have an armada crossing the ocean for cystic fibrosis. I forgot to say, in 2018 was the first year that we did the paddle out ceremony to honor the CF community in Bimini. And we have that beautiful heart image that you guys have seen of that. And so now we have a committee of 25 people working. We have hundreds of volunteers. We have 2 full-time employees. We have a growing board, right? This is the path and the progress. And Piper's Angels also in 2019 launches the Crossing Cares program, which was that 50% of the fundraised dollars from any nonprofit in the crossing, 50% would go back to their own nonprofit. So in 2019, we gave over $31,000 back to 9 different nonprofits in 4 different countries. In 2019, in the fall, Piper's Angels Foundation and Paul, the board of directors president, stepped up in a big way to help in the Bahamas relief effort. In 2019, we also launched our 4th signature program called Unmasking Mindfulness to help bring mindfulness and meditation to those suffering from anxiety, stress, and depression in the CF community. The Piper's Angels team attended the National CF Conference in the fall of 2019 in Nashville for the first time. We also successfully wrote our 100th grant for urgent financial assistance in the fall of 2019. We were awarded the People's Choice Award, and I got the Nonprofit Executive of the Year Award from the Hats Off Award ceremony. And then Piper's Angels launched the inaugural War Paint Wednesday as a global day of activism for cystic fibrosis. And this is all in the fall of 2019. And then we take it from there into 2020, where we arrived where we're at now, which is the coronavirus hit. So that was really kind of what it went through. In the beginning of 2020, we hired our 3rd employee. Tatiana Timms is our development director. And let me tell you, I'm so proud of our board for everything that they have done and built over the years. We just added 6 more board members for a total of 12 board members. We've got some great experience coming to the board. Really excited. Tatiana has taken on this development role and is really shining. And we couldn't have hired her at a better time, because right now, if you're a business, you might be cutting expenses and doing a lot of drastic things, but the thing you have to remember is you're a business. So you're either going to go out of business or you're going to be in business. So now's the time to dig in deep, call on all your resources, pull on every string, because you got to make it to the other side. And that's what Piper's Angels Foundation is focused on, and succeeding through this pandemic. We had to cancel the crossing in 2020, which is a major disappointment. But at the same time, it's been a great gift for us to work on the infrastructure of the foundation. So that was a summary of the second part of the story of the Piper's Angels Foundation. I wanted to share those milestones with you because I think it's really important. I think people should know what we do and how we do it and why we do it. And I think everybody should, if we're dreaming this dream together, let's all shoot for the same kind of goals. Let's aim together, let's shoot for the stars and land on the moon. And so we've got some big plans with the Piper's Angels Foundation. They will continue. We had a great call today with Melissa Urenquist from the Claire's Place Foundation, founded by the great Claire Wineland, one of the most inspirational figures in the CF community. We're doing some great partnerships and collaboration with so many people in the community. And that's what this is all about. And that's what we'll continue to do. So thank you to everybody out there this week who tuned in for part 2 of the Piper's Angels story. And we want to send all of our love and everybody out there the most positive, real, genuine love that we can give, which is listening. The easiest thing you can do is listen, show up. Listening is the first step of love, because if you're truly listening, you're listening from your heart. So turn to those people next to you tonight when you kiss them goodnight or give them a hug, or you get on the phone, give your mom a call, and just listen. Don't talk, just listen. Listen to how epic love transforms the world. Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Yeah. Spread the love all over the world. All God's people, spread the love all over the world.